Hello and welcome back to what looks like a glorious spring morning. First of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone that watched the previous video building the bean bed. More importantly, the people that left comments. There was some good constructive comments on there which I'm taking on board, so thanks a lot. Anyway, let's go and have a look. As a quick fix of binding the sides and ends together, what I've done, I've put some fairly substantial nylon rope around in the loop, and I've twined that round a metal pole that's really taut. As you can see, it's pulled the sides of the slabs in. I've just zip tied them on there, and that'll definitely last as an interim until I find a permanent thing. I'll probably end up putting some brackets around, as quite a few of you have suggested, but that'll hold it in the meantime while the compost's settling and risk any sides pushing out. Another thing I have a look was the gaps in the pipework. So if this was a wooden board, I wouldn't be too bothered with it because I'd want some airflow, but since this is like a concrete thing, there'll be nothing going up there. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to bung them gaps up with some petroleum jelly, because I know that does deter the slugs. In fact, I put those around the legs of the veggie pod before I actually start planting, and that does keep the slugs from climbing up. Because I'll be starting using these containers very soon for starting some potatoes off, I've decided I'm going to empty the contents of there into the bean bed, and then that chance for the worms to take some of the top down. The signs that spring's on its way is evident with each day that progresses. The last few days, the chillies and the peppers have put on a really big growth spurt. The overall plan for these is, once the Vitapods are done, which won't be too long now, I'm going to decommission them and break them down. And in here, I'm going to be putting a capillary system for growing 12 peppers and chillies. And I'm going to pick the best out and pot them on very soon. Here I've got a matrix of what's actually in the Vitapod at the moment, so I can easily pick what quantities of each variety I've got. It looks much better now it's been topped up with the spent potato compost. I've given it a little damping down with a watering can. I think I'm going to cover it now until I'm ready for planting out. After a good watering, I've put a sheet of weed membrane down over the top. Cut the boards on, just stop it blowing off, and that'll stay like that until we start planting out. Another nice little job for me in the sunshine is to get these strawberries in. I need 15 plants in total, and there's more than enough there, so I'll pick the best and pop them in. I'm just giving these a good watering in now. If you watched an episode probably 4 or 5 uploads ago, you'll saw that they'll give this bed a good top dressing with rotted manure and put the cover back on. So once the strawberry plants have got the feet down into there, hopefully they'll get down and go like a rocket, and that'll see me good for at least another 3 years. Another bonus already, I've popped a sheet of polycarb across the top here, and that's made a nice little bench. I can use this for potting on, bit of al fresco in the sunshine, and also as the coal frame gets overloaded I can put the surplus on there with a bit of protection on the top. I'm going to be doing my first sowing of peas now. As usual, the first sowing for me is always Hurst Green Shaft. Now my usual supplier has let me down a bit. Normally I get them from a local market, Penkridge, and he sells them in the half and 1 pint jugs. But I've been twice, and both occasions he said he'd forgot to load them, which, you know, he possibly has, but he got all the other stuff he'd remembered. Seems to have forgot the peas. So in the end I decided to go outside. I've been to Moles, and if you want to buy any seeds in bulk, seriously give this company a look at. The thing you've got to be careful of is the postage, because the postage goes up in weight. It goes from 1/2 kilogram to 1 kilogram, then 3. So I've ordered 1/2 kilogram of peas. I can't remember how much there were now, but then I was able to add like beetroot on in bulk, and what other was, spring onions and stuff like that. And because the total weight of that kept below 1 kilogram, the postage remained the same, so it does work out cheaper. But say do keep it on the postage, because you can knock the price up. Anyway, I'm going to carry on sowing these. I have done a video in the How to Grow series, and if you want to see that, there'll be a little link up the corner and also one down below. It's surprising really how few peas you do really need. When I first started doing the gutter method, I was sowing way too thickly. Still getting a decent crop, but I think it was Steve from Seaside Allotment suggested sowing them a lot thinner, so I tried it, and I must say I was a bit wary at first because the germination was slow, but when they come up, put them in the ground, and it's probably the best crop I had. So now I don't sow them so thickly. In fact, these are sown a little bit thicker than I'd actually like, but we'll see how they go. A fellow plot holder kindly allowed me the use of some space in his greenhouse just to germinate my peas. For some reason I seem to get issues with mice with peas in my greenhouse, and in here they germinate quite rapidly, as I've done in the last 2 years. A quick look in the Vitapod. As you can see, the tomatoes are doing very well. But farther on there, cucumbers, I got 6 out of 6. Really surprised with that. So let's get potting on. Potting the cucumbers on now, just adding a bit of blood fishing powder. Say any additives you add to the soil is purely subjective really. I know a lot of people believe in them, a lot don't. There's people out there already checking this super soil, and I'm very interested to see the results of that. The thing to do is give it a try, and if it works for you, keep up with it. Just potting these on into 7 centimetre pots now. Nice loose compost. So this is Bathgate's Champions Blend. Make a hole in there. With the cucumbers, you can plant them a little bit deeper if you want, and they'll actually come out of the first tray. The other thing I like to do with these tomatoes and sometimes the onions is give them a dusting of mycorrhizal. So pop them down there, give it a shake up, firm down, and there we are. I'm just going to do a sowing now of beetroot. The variety is called Bolt Hardy. It's a little 24 cell tray I'll put one seed in each cell and then plant it out as they mature. I put the beetroot in the allotment greenhouse and they'll be all right there. I think they'll be germinated in a few days. It's most noticeable now as the days warm up. The weeds on the surface are starting to appear. For the sake of a couple of minutes each day as you pop out, just take the tops off. Otherwise, in 2 weeks' time, you'll be doing it for 2 hours. I'm going to finish this one off by pricking out the celery. Now you may recall the celery had a bit of a visit from the mouse in the greenhouse, so the germination hasn't been as good as it usually is. However, there should be enough there to see me through. I've filled 2 trays at the moment, 12 cell trays, and I'll see how many plants I can get out of it. Well, in the end I managed to squeeze 24 plants out. That should be enough what I want. I'm going to keep them here in the allotment greenhouse, and I've got a little propagator lid I can pop over the top just to give them a bit of protection till they get the feet back down again. I was quite surprised looking at the weather forecast. Wednesday or Thursday we may have a few snow flurries coming in with temperatures dropping down to sub-zero. So let that be a warning for you and get something in protection. Check your local area. So it'd be a shame to lose the plants at this stage after you've put all that effort in. Anyway, that's about it from me. Many thanks for watching as usual. Stay safe all, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.